All right, everybody, welcome back to episode 8 of Probably Shouldn't Be Recording This because talking to myself is cheaper than therapy. Today, we I have a random ass list of stuff we're going to talk about. Got it all written down on a sticky note right in front of me. Um, we're going to talk about some sports related stuff with college football playoff and Notre Dame being little babies and taking their ball and going home because they didn't get uh, a playoff spot, which they have a legitimate gripe for. But since they didn't get invited to the playoff, they have declined all other postseason activity and have shut down their season. So it's kind of a whatever. I'll get into it. Also, I'm gonna talk about my boy John Cena. His last match is tomorrow against Gunther on Saturday Night Main Event. The man has been doing it since 2003, I believe. And 22 years the man's been doing it, and his last match will be tomorrow. And I would kind of just want to talk about the impact he's had on me and my wrestling fandom. I also, guys, super exciting. Knives Out, Wake Up Dead Man is out today. Literally going home and going to watch it with my wife and daughter. Super fucking excited for it. I've heard nothing but good things, but I've managed to stay spoiler free. that's uh, that's that's really all I have planned for this weekend is watching Knives Out tomorrow. And that's one day of 3 days. So we'll see what else the weekend has in store for me. Yeah, and then something funny that I noticed today is where I work. We're open 24 hours a day, 24/7, 365. We're open all the time. So at night we have security guard the premises just to make sure that nobody's trying to break into our buses or any type of that activities. And I noticed today the security guard poked his head in our office and said, I'm out of here, guys. You guys need anything? And I swear to you, this man looked like the Undertaker from WWE, but if the Undertaker was 5'5". So it was kind of tripping me out to just see the Undertaker, but miniature. Mini Taker is probably what I'm going to start calling him. Maybe even to his face. Because the Undertaker, the character, is a badass character. The man himself is a Trumplican. He stumps hard for Trump, so not the biggest fan of the man himself, but the character is pretty incredible, and it's another character I grew up with. So with that, I think we'll lead into Mr. Cena, Mr. You Can't See Me, Mr. Fruity Pebbles shirt wearer. He kind of came into WWE when I was not watching it. In 2003, I would have been 20 years old. So I really wasn't watching wrestling at that point in time. I would see highlights every so often. So I missed the whole Dr. Thugonomics version of him where he would come to the ring and he would freestyle. And I would go back and I would listen to the freestyles and I'd be like, okay, this guy's pretty good. Like, his freestyle game is pretty good, especially if it's just coming straight off the dome. I don't know if that's actually the case. I really started watching and seeing everything that he does much later. I think I was think I was in my 30s when I started really watching it again, so I could see everything that he brought, and he was this generation's Hulk Hogan. He was, everything that Hulk Hogan should have been, and now you see it with this retirement tour that he had. That he's clearly so much better than Hulk Hogan in so many ways. Let me also get this out there. Fuck Hulk Hogan. He was a racist. He did everything in his power to shut down the union that was about to form in the WWE. He has done a lot of keeping other people down in the industry of wrestling. So I am not a big fan of his, and I honestly was never a big fan of his. Back in the day when he was popular, I was more a fan of the Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man Randy Savage, and this might be a deep cut for a lot of people, but Tatanka. He was one of my favorites. I liked how he looked. I like how he wrestled. I like it. I liked his theme song. Um, but yeah, I've never been a Hulk Hogan fan. But he changed the industry, and there's no denying that. So this is John Cena is this generation's Hulk Hogan. He's literally changed so much of the business and how good he's become as an actor. Way better than anything Hulk Hogan has ever done. And I would honestly say he's probably a better actor than The Rock. But if we're ranking actors that were former wrestlers, Batista is at the top. His portrayal of Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy, literally opened him up to so many opportunities because he was so good in that role. And I've seen him in other roles. He's a good actor. So he's probably the best wrestler turned actor, in my opinion. Cena's right behind him. He can nail the comedic roles. I would love to see him do something more dramatic. Um, but I don't know if that's going to happen in the near future. He's doing a lot of action and comedy and stuff, which he's great at. But I would love to see him kind of stretch his abilities and see if he can do some dramatic roles. Also, I beat the train. I beat the train. It is not stopping me. I literally was the last car before the little arms came down. So it almost got me, but I win. And so that's, it's a good Friday if I can beat the train home. Excuse me, I got a little something in my throat, frog in my throat, or whatever people say. But yeah, Mr. Cena, his last match is tomorrow. 22 years, the man did it, and I don't know if we'll ever see anything like him again. Cody Rhodes is your best bet right now. But he's already 37, 38. So I don't know if he'll have enough time to accumulate what Cena did. But the wrestling business is so much better because he was a part of it, John Cena. And I don't know. I'm probably going to re-watch. I'm not going to watch it live, but I'll probably re-watch the match. And once it's over, I'll probably shed a tear or two, especially because I know there's going to be some beautiful tributes. He's just meant so much to the business of wrestling, and a lot of people got into the business because of him, and how much he's owned how he used to be booked, and he called out the 5 moves of doom and all of this kind of stuff. He's so self-aware that it's a really admirable trait I like about him. He's pretty self-aware. He's very funny. He's very quick-witted. But he's just, and when you watch him in interviews, he just seems like salt of the earth type of human. just somebody that I would want to hang out with. So, thank you, Mr. Cena. Thank you, John. I see you. I've always seen you. And thank you for all that you've done for my childhood passion. Amazing. Now, we'll go from quote unquote fake sports to real sports. So Notre Dame, the last college football playoff rankings came out because it's bowl season, and Notre Dame got left out. Miami was chosen over them. The main issue is both Miami and Notre Dame did not play during championship game weekend, and yet somehow Miami jumped Notre Dame. Miami did win the head-to-head matchup. It is important to remember that. Miami did win the head-to-head matchup. But in every other metric that the committee supposedly looked at, Notre Dame was better. They were higher ranked. So they get left out, and immediately they get an offer for a bowl game. I believe it was the Pop-Tarts Bowl or something. And they turn it down, put out this whole thing saying that they're not going to participate in postseason play because of the injustice that happened to them by not making the playoffs. Then, the Tuesday after, it comes out that next year, for the college football playoffs, that Notre Dame, if they have a good enough record, they are guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. Which is bullshit because they're one of only like 3 or 4 teams in the NCAA in football that are independent, don't belong to a conference. So they're going to get special exemptions just because they're Notre Dame. They're this big school that carry this big name. So they just feel like they're owed a playoff spot if they have a good enough record. And I hate that. I've always hated the arrogance of Notre Dame football. They literally have their own football network on NBC. They get special exceptions for stuff all the time just because they're Notre Dame, and they don't want to lose out on any money by joining a conference because they're doing quite well for themselves. So to me, I understand why they're mad, why they're frustrated. But for them to basically take their ball and go home and then go cry to mommy and daddy, aka the college football bigwigs, and now they have a guaranteed spot next year if they're good enough. That's kind of bullshit. I don't know. I've always had a disdain for Notre Dame. I'm not sure why. In the movie, Rudy didn't do it any favors. Like, I didn't care about the whole story. It was kind of hokey, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm like one of the rare people that didn't really care for the movie Rudy. So I guess that's a hill I'm going to die on. It's not that good of a movie. The story isn't that good. And they embellished a lot when they made that movie. So, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a big Notre Dame fan. I love their head coach. Marcus Freeman is an amazing head coach. And if I was... that's another thing I want to talk about. If I was Michigan, since they have an opening, I would throw all of my money at Marcus Freeman. He's an incredible coach. He's a great leader of young men. He can recruit his ass off. And if I was Michigan, I would be throwing all my money at him, if I'm being honest. Why does Michigan need a head coach, you ask? Well, Let me just tell you what I've heard / seen. Sharon Moore took over for Jim Harbaugh 2 years ago after Jim Harbaugh went to the Chargers. Sharon Moore helped Michigan win a national championship 3 years ago. Or was it 2 years ago? Might have been 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. Because last year Ohio State won, the year before Michigan won. So Sharon Moore got some head coaching experience because Jim Harbaugh got suspended for some other dumb shit they were doing, having assistant coaches steal signs. So Michigan is a hot mess. A hot mess. So much turmoil and just bad shit have been happening. So I honestly, Sharon was kind of doomed. So let's get to Sharon Moore. Apparently, the entire time Sharon Moore has been the head coach of Michigan, Sharon Moore is married with 3 kids. Sharon Moore was having extramarital affair with the executive assistant for the whole time. The whole time he was head coach. Um, and what happened, and I'm probably missing a whole bunch of facts, but what happened, what I saw, was that the assistant went to Michigan and came forward with the relationship. A day later, he was fired. Once he was fired, he apparently lost his damn mind and broke into her apartment, threatened to kill her and himself, and then eventually ended up running away out of there and was arrested at a church. So clearly he's going through some shit. He most likely will not get a coaching job ever again. He's going to prison. Um, and honestly, I really hope he's able to get some help, because apparently the entire time he's been married with 3 kids, he's been sliding into DMs of Instagram models and OnlyFans models and just some terrible fucking behavior. Like, he's clearly, he has something wrong with him. Now, it could be a sex addiction. That's a very real thing that people have. And it's not something to poo-poo. But I hope he gets the help he needs, especially for those kids. You know, maybe not so much for his wife, because I don't think they're going to be married for much longer, if I'm being 100% honest. But for those kids, everybody deserves to have a dad in their life. I, from the age of 15, I didn't have a dad. I had a stepdad later on, but those formative teenage years, I didn't really have a dad. So I think it's important that people have that father figure in their life. And I'm sure these young girls will, and that's the other thing. He has 3 young girls, and this is how he's acting. So that's what kind of makes me think it's like there's something going on in his brain chemistry. Um, that's the optimist in me. He could just be a huge piece of shit, but I'm holding out hope that it's just like it's a disorder. It's a sex addiction kind of thing where he just can't help himself. Oh man, what a shit show. So yeah, they have a head coach opening. And signing day was on Wednesday, and all of these young men signed letters of intent to go to Michigan, and now they don't have a head coach. Of course, they can get out of the letter of intents now because of stuff like this, but man, Michigan, they need to, in my opinion, clean house, bring in a whole new administration team, a whole new football staff. Well, they have to. There is no staff to have. But it's just a shit show, man. And if anybody out there that's a Michigan fan, I'm sorry. You guys should hopefully land a good coach because you're Michigan and you got a big name. So I think you guys should be fine in the long run. But right now, it's just kind of messed up. it's a nice way of putting it. So yeah, I'll be curious to watch it and watch and see what happens and who they hire. And should be interesting. Now I guess I'll give a warning. Excuse me. I will give a warning. I kind of wanted to touch a little bit on religion and how you see Christianity being portrayed. I will first start off by saying that I'm an atheist. I have been an atheist since I was about 17 years old. I used to say that I was agnostic. That really wasn't the case. I grew up in a Christian household, Episcopalian. My grandma went to church every Sunday. Luckily, my mom was very cool about it. She's, never really forced me to go to church. The only time I ever would when I was younger was with my grandma. And once I got to a certain age, my mama said, if you don't want to go, you don't have to. So that was cool. I appreciated that she did that for me. But I guess I've never really bought into the whole religion thing. I understand why people do. I understand that for a lot of people, it gives them hope. But I've never been that person. I'm an atheist, devout atheist. At the same time, I'm not the kind of atheist that's going to shit on you for being a Christian or being Catholic or being Muslim or being any other religious denomination, because that's not my place. So that statement leads me to my second part. The Christians you see being portrayed now are the ones, unfortunately, that are associated with dear old Donald Trump. And these Christians are using Bible verses to excuse this abhorrent behavior by the president, by the people that work for ICE. These people are cheering for people getting taken away from their families. These people are going to bat for Donald Trump, wanting to take away food stamps for people in need. And, you use the phrase people in need, and then at the same time, these people that you see, the loud ones, they see them cheering on the fact that Donald Trump is trying to get rid of food stamps for all these people and take people away from their families. And self-admittedly not a Christian, but that shit doesn't seem very Christian to me. Doesn't seem very Christ-like to me. So when you have people slinging Bible verses at you, especially about the immigrants, like, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me that people can act this way and then look at themselves in a mirror with a straight face and think they're being the good person when it's the exact fucking opposite. I was raised, like I said, in an Episcopalian household. So we didn't say grace or do anything like that. Then my mom married an Italian man, and they were very Catholic. So we went to church, had to do up downs on the pews, doing sit, stand, kneel. You know, they were playing that sit, stand, kneel game long before it was popular at parties. Um, and I don't know, some of those people, Catholics, Christians, they're bad people. Like you see all of these people getting arrested for child pornography, Christian, youth pastors, all of this kind of stuff, and it's just like, you guys are supposed to be the good people. It's never made sense to me. I've always tried to be a good person. You know, people annoy the fuck out of me, and for the most part, I can't stand them. But I don't want to see people ever go hungry. I don't ever want to see people get taken away from their families simply because they're not born here. Lest we forget, we all are here on stolen land from the Native Americans. We are all fucking immigrants. None of us are 100%. So the fact that this country seemingly, some of the country, and I think it's a lot of loud voices, because you see all on social media, people in Minnesota, New York, all of these places where ICE is, Chicago, all of these places where ICE is trying to make an impact, like getting rid of illegal immigrants. And the people are fighting back. There's sounding out sirens. They're blocking ICE in so that they can't get to certain houses. You know, and it's beautiful to see. But this kind of stuff shouldn't even be happening. If we would have just, as a country, decided to not be selfish for once and put Kamala Harris in the White House, do you think any of this would be going on if Kamala Harris was in the White House right now? I know the answer. It's no. None of this shit would be happening. We would not be focusing on this stuff because it's not an issue. They make it seem like immigration is such a huge issue, and all of these people, so many people are coming over and they're taking the jobs and they're doing this and that. Guess what, man? When they get a job, they pay taxes. But since they're not from here, they can't collect Social Security. They don't have a Social Security number. What's the problem? What's the problem? They're literally just trying to make a better life for their families. Isn't that an American thing to do? But since they're not born within the confines of the United States, that makes them different than you? No, no, no. We are all people. Whether we're from Colorado, Nicaragua, Mexico, wherever the fuck. We're all people. We're humans. Just because they're born in a different place doesn't make them worse than us. Doesn't make them less than us. Can't fucking stand the whole term of illegal alien. Like, these people are aliens. They're people. If if I want to call something an alien, I want to see a little motherfucker come down from space in a spaceship, you know, and then take me and my family away from all this bullshit. Show us what life would be like without selfishness and just all of the bad stuff that comes with everything that I'm seeing nowadays. It's heartbreaking. It's so frustrating. I yeah, just it sucks. It sucks, you know. And I try to do my part. I go to protests. I go to the No Kings protests. I try to, be a positive light for people, and be a safe place for people that are experiencing this kind of harassment. And the whole fucking witch hunt with trans people. Trans people are humans. Trans rights are human rights. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Trans rights are human rights. And this whole witch hunt that people have. People are just trying to be themselves. And there's absolutely nothing fucking wrong with that. But everybody has a problem with it. And I hate it. The mindsets that people have, I can't even put myself in their position. Because it doesn't make sense. And to live your life being that miserable that you have to hyper focus on trans people or immigrants or whatever the topic du jour is for these fucking people. Just let people live their lives. They're not harming you. They're not taking anything. In the grand scheme of things, they're not. And until we realize that all of the issues that are getting, word vomited, repeated over and over and over, it's from these rich motherfuckers that don't want to see anybody else succeed but them and their friends. It's not a left versus right thing. It's an up versus down. And right now, the people that are up there are peeing all over us, for lack of a better, phrasing. They're pissing all over us. And then they drop a little carrot or whatever, or they find the next thing, and they focus on the people that are easily manipulated emotionally. And once that happens, the people that are emotionally manipulated, they are diehards. And they fall into this kind of like this cult. The Make America Great Again, the whole MAGA movement is a cult. It's a cult. And it just it frustrates me. I have family members that are a part of this cult, and sometimes they post ignorant fucking shit online, and I have to call them out on it. I just because a lot of times people just see the clickbait headline and they just run with it. They don't read the article. They don't, and they just spread misinformation. That is a huge fucking problem right now. Is the spreading of misinformation. And people are so gullible. They'll see one thing and run with it and post it on all their socials. And sometimes these people have a lot of followers. Millions, thousands, millions. And, it just gets spread. And it's just like, it, it seems like you're fighting an uphill battle. It makes you feel like you're insane. Because you know, as general, what's right. And then you have all of these things saying otherwise. And people, in your family that you love, parroting it and just saying it word for word, not knowing what they're actually talking about. Which is why, like, if I don't fully know what I'm talking about, I will give my opinion, but I'm not ever, ever, ever going to state that shit as fact. But that's what, quote unquote, the right does. They state their opinions as if they are facts. And that is a problem. And the amazing lack of empathy nowadays, especially from people that call themselves Christians. The lack of empathy of, like, these mothers being taken from their kids. These kids being taken from their mothers. And they're cheering it on. Like, what the fuck? What are we doing? What are we doing? This is the darkest timeline. And I have no doubt the 2026 midterms, the House will flip back to blue. Maybe even the Senate too. And at that point, Donald Trump will be a useless president because nothing will pass. So he not only will he be useless, but he will have two of the most ineffective presidencies ever. And the sad and fucked up thing is if he was able to run again, so many people would vote for him. He is 80-something years old. He nods off in meetings. He's incoherently babbles all the fucking time. He is like, I want to say dementia. Dementia's got a hold of him. And, and his diet isn't the best. And just so many things. I should have run that light. Oh, well. Don't ride red lights, kids. Yeah, that's just this. This episode's been a whole bunch of word vomit. I do apologize, guys. Let me know your thoughts on any of the stuff I've talked about. And please like and subscribe my stuff. Trying to get my name out there, and it would mean a whole bunch if you guys could do that for me. With that being said, everybody have a great weekend, and I will talk to you again next Friday.